Hey, 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 Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box Podcast. My name's Gary.
My name is Matt.
And I'm Jordan.
Yay, welcome to the January Roundtable.
Yay.
Welcome back to another episode with this lot. I say this lot, it's a bit of a cosy one for January. There's only a couple of us. The rest of the team are off doing lifey stuff, I guess. Life stuff. They're busy doing things. So it's just myself, Matt, and Jordan. And coming up in this month's episode, we are going to be talking about... These guys are actually going to give us our thoughts because we haven't spoken in person yet about the Christmas special, believe it or not. So we've had some stuff kicking around Discord, but we haven't had the definitive yay or nay, like, dislike, rubbish or not from these guys. So we'll go through that. And then we've got some news that's been kicking about within fandom, etc. About some I don't know how you would describe the news, really. Something's very cool. You know, we roll on with another one of those things, which is very cool. And then we've got some news which is... Some would say a storm in a teacup. Others would say, you know, it's the tornado of the century. Let's see where these guys fall on that. But before we crack on with that, I'll give you some details later on in the episode about how you can follow and subscribe to this episode. But for now, let's see how these lot are. Matt, how have you been, buddy?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Gary. Had a great Christmas, usual family sort of stuff, and obviously watching on the big day. I'll give you my thoughts on that in a little while. But yeah, apart from that, I've been continuing. Me and my better half have been rewatching from Rose to present because she's just got back into it and is loving it. So we were attempting to do it before the 60th anniversary specials aired, but that did not happen. We're currently, I think we've just watched The Rings of Akaton, and my opinion changed vastly on that one. Yeah, I can't remember liking it that much on a first watch. I was a bit bored, I'll be honest, but watching it again, it was great episode. I think it's got everything you want in it, and the music, that song, I don't know the name of it, but I heard it recently on the 60th anniversary, the music special they did, and it blew me away. And then I've just discovered a new appreciation for it.
Is it called The Long Song?
That's it.
Is it The Long Song? Yeah.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But apart from that, I've been doing a bit of merchandise updating in the old Discord for a few weeks now, and just sort of finding my feet there and trying to just keep people informed of the latest stuff to spend your money on.
That's cool. So Matt is our Matt's now sort of custodian of all the merch news that gets posted into we have a dedicated channel in our Discord for all.
He's the toy maker.
Ah, yes, that's a better label. Yeah, Matt's now the toy maker. Yeah, which is a nice little segue, which I was going to leave till later, but might as well say it now. If you want to hang out with other Doctor Who fans and talk about the show itself and all things around that, so collecting, merch, as we just mentioned with Matt, and events and conventions and soundtracks, all that stuff, it's all there in our free Discord server. So if you head over to the website, which is bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk, you'll see a Discord icon there under the social media channels bit. Just whack that, go into Discord, and there you go. Anyway, sorry, yeah. So, so catching up on some Doctor Who. Rings of Akaton, very good. Do you know what? It's such a common thing these days. You hear it all the time with, not that episode specifically, but with people who have watched Doctor Who years after they've watched it and their opinion has been drastically changed. It's one of those yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know any other than like the prequels with Star Wars. I don't know any other franchise where people have left a sizable gap, talking like years or decades even, and then have watched it again, and it's like, yeah, I love that now. So yeah, that's really cool, dude. Nice one.
I tell you what, just one other episode that happened with that I think you'll probably turn off my mic.
Oh no.
Is,
no, Matt, don't say.
no, not that one. Not that one. Not your absolute worst episode ever. Your second worst episode ever. Nightmare in Silver.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually watched that recently. Thought it was a lot better than previous. Not great, but a lot better.
Okay, so yeah, I can't say I share your sentiment on that. Maybe that's going to require another rewatch. I'm not sure, but either way, though, dude, it's very cool that you're going through and watching more Doctor Who. More Doctor Who is always a good thing. Nice one, dude. Jordan, how have you been, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. Like everybody else, I've watched Doctor Who Christmas Day. But we'll say my feelings on that in a minute. But I very recently, Sunday, went to an event at Riverside Studios in London, which was re-showing An Adventure in Space and Time and the final episode of The Celestial Toymaker, which I think is called The Final Test. But I went with Maria from Big Blue Box. And then we got to meet Carol Ann Ford, Waris Hussein, who directed An Unearthly Child and Marco Polo, Jamie Glover and Claudia Grant, who were Ian and Susan, but they were William Russell and Carol Ann Ford in Adventure in Space and Time. There was a couple of people, I think one of them was like one of the dolls in The Toymaker, and someone we've met before, Dudley Darby, who was a cameraman. And then I think the one that me and Maria were probably the most excited for was we met Sacha Dhawan,
Nice.
who was the master. And can I just say, Maria pointed it out before I noticed it, but he is tiny. He is so short. And I was like, oh my God. So his performance as the master, I mean, I liked him as the master. I thought he was really good. But his performance must have been so big that I just assumed like he was well over 6 foot. But I'm 6'4". If I stood up, he must come up to about my shoulder or a little bit below my shoulder. He's quite short. But I went to his table and he told me I had a lovely name. So he's not like the master at all. But I think he was the one that we were the most excited for. So we've got a few autographs. And yeah, we had a fun time. Up until Storm, whatever it was, decided to hit London, and then I had to sort of leave quite suddenly so I could actually get home on the train. But apart from that, yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun there.
That sounds awesome. Wow, some really cool guests there as well. Nice.
Yeah, and fair dues to Waris Hussein, who I think it must be in his 90s, and he's still going.
Yeah, sure.
So, and he's, he was still sort of with it and sort of talking about making the show and sort of doing whatever, and I got to thank him for making something that, 60 years ago would have just been something that they would just, they'd only done An Unearthly Child, they were already trying to cancel it. And, basically said thank you for making something that means so much to so many people and has lasted for, 60 years. And it was like, well, you're very welcome, sir. You're very welcome. You're all very welcome. So there you go. Waris Hussein has said you are all very welcome.
Oh, that's cool. Imagine if his reaction was very different, like, well, I didn't want to make it.
I was half expecting to come out with an answer like that. But,
I was told to. So
I'm still trying to cancel it to this day.
yeah.
No.
What are we talking about again?
Cool, Jordan.
Oh, Doctor Who, that thing. Yeah.
But,
oh, that's cool.
No, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, sounds good. So you've both done Doctor Who related stuff. Always a good thing. Right, let's go straight into the Christmas special then. Jordan, you can go first. What did you think to this in terms of was it as I'm not sure how high your expectations were going into watching that, but did it meet any of those expectations if you had any? And were there any sort of key takeaways that you either liked or disliked?
I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the 60th anniversary sort of trilogy. There were a few hiccups here and there, but for the vast majority of it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I was kind of expecting, and I loved Shooty in The Giggle. I thought he was fantastic. From the minute he appeared, I think he kind of just stole the rest of the show. I don't think it mattered how good David was and how good Catherine was and, you know, Neil Patrick Harris. I think he was the one that was just the standout. So going into Church on Ruby Road, I was expecting, you know, quite good things. And I think, on the whole, I got that because I really did enjoy it. Christmas specials are usually quite hit and miss anyway. They're normally more of a miss for me than a hit. I think really only Voyage of the Damned is the only one really that I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'll watch that whenever. But I have watched Church on Ruby Road quite a lot since it aired, so I must have enjoyed it enough that I want to keep watching it. I thought Shooty was fantastic. I really liked Millie Gibson, actually. I was a little bit, because I know I'd seen bits of her in Coronation Street, and I didn't think she was amazing in that, but she was really good in this, and they had a very good chemistry as the Doctor and the companion. There were a few things, but I think it's stuff that Russell's always struggled with. So why really were the goblins there? They didn't really do anything. They weren't, you know, they kind of became surplus to requirements towards the end. They were just something that they sort of kept on throwing. Oh yeah, remember the goblins. The goblins are here to cause bad luck. But that didn't really bother me because I think Shooty and Millie were so fantastic. And then the rest of the cast was so good that, it didn't really bother me that the plot was kind of paper thin. But it is a Christmas special, so that's kind of what you're going to get. I just want to know who Miss Flood is, who she's supposed to be. I think she is an old companion, either one that we don't know the Doctor had yet, or she's playing someone who, like, one of the original actors has died. So I'm thinking maybe she's someone like Dodo, or someone where the actress has passed away. And that's kind of why she had that sort of reaction when she saw the TARDIS. Was like, you know, I haven't seen one in nearly 60 years. I don't want to see one now. And, you know, but I kind of, you know, they've done the musical number, which really didn't bother me. I quite liked the musical number. That was pure sort of Disney and Gremlins and that sort of thing. But I want Mrs. Flood. Russell, if you're listening to this, you quickly reshot that bit, the opening bit with Shooty in like 2 seconds for this Christmas one. I want Mrs. Flood to have a reveal like Agatha Harkness from WandaVision.
Oh.
And be like, it's been Agatha all along, and, you know, do something like that. Come on, you know, I'd quite like that. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed Church on Ruby Road. I thought it was a lot of fun, and definitely one of the better Christmas specials I think that we've had. Okay,
so it's a thumbs up overall from you. Okay,
yes,
cool,
yeah,
nice one, yeah, and that's one of the cool things that. I love when Doctor Who does that, when there's an interesting character and it just leaves everybody guessing for however many episodes or even years sometimes before you get back round. So that, yeah, that's very cool. An interesting theory as well. So maybe, yeah, a previous companion perhaps, where the original actress has passed away and it's...
Because she's quite nice to Ruby at the end, isn't she? Where she's like, oh, good luck, Ruby. And it's sort of like, that doesn't... She could be like, you know, people are being like, oh, it's the Rani, she's the Rani. It could be, you know, Russell could be trying to sort of make us think what I'm thinking. But I'm like, I don't know, would a villain, you know, but then, I don't know. But yeah, she was quite nice to Ruby at the end, so...
Yeah, but that's, well...
And she's obviously somebody that knows, you know, because she knows what a TARDIS is, so she's obviously somebody that's...
I don't know, though. You can't really go on... I don't think you can go on being nice to, because we've seen I'm actually watching through Frontier in Space at the moment for our review this week of that. And in one episode, the Master turns up and is very, very kind to Joe.
Yeah.
And, offers to help her and the Doctor and all that stuff. And that obviously turns very sour very quickly. So that could obviously be a little ruse there, perhaps. You never know. That's why it's cool.
Yeah.
It's up in the air. So, okay.
But I want an Agatha reveal, please. That's what I want.
Do you know what? That was pretty cool in WandaVision. That was kind of cool.
It was. It was very good.
Okie dokie. A thumbs up from Jordan. And Matt, over to you, buddy. Did it meet your expectations, if you had any? And what are some key takeaways for you?
Well, I mean, coming in from the giggle, it's kind of hard not to have expectations for this special because, well, as soon as he was pulled out of David Tennant, he stole the show, didn't he? Or Shooty. He was just... I think that is just one of the perfect castings for the Doctor, really, because he's got that spark. He's got that something that sets him apart from being human, but also not enough that he's not likable. He's so much so that he's instantly lovable almost. You can't help but smile when he's on screen. So yeah, of course, coming into this, I had some expectations, and same as Jordan, I think they were pretty much met, and I thoroughly enjoyed the episode as a whole. There's a few little bits that stopped me from putting a 10 down on the score sheet, but on the whole, it served its purpose brilliantly, as bringing Shooty into the fold as the Doctor, and showing what he is really about. I mean, with the giggle, you've got the regen story, and it's all a bit, oh my god, who am I? This finding their feet Doctor, but this, you really got a sense of who this Doctor's going to be, and what kind of man he is. Also, it serves as a brilliant opening for the companion, as it always does. The first episode is always with a new companion. It's always more of a companion piece than a monster story, I think. You do it with any of them, really. Rose, Smith and Jones, any of them, and most of the time, the monsters, you don't really remember them all that, like, they weren't the center of the story. But I think it works well as the goblins come on in. They work well with the fantasy element, because it's done nicely. It's not silly, which was after hearing the Goblin song coming out. I had a worry that, I think we said on the podcast, that it was going to be really kind of Alvin and the Chipmunksy voiced, and it's just going to be sort of like, I don't know, just silly. But it wasn't, and yeah, really happy with that. In terms of the episode, I think nearly everything was spot on. I think the only thing that brought it down for me was personally the gloves, the intelligent kinetic gloves. Just a plot device, really, and used way too much. If they were used once to get out of a tight situation, when they first, when he had to jump onto the rope to climb up to the Goblin ship, if that was the only time we saw them, fine. But to be the be-all and end-all and the save-the-day solution, it felt kind of a little bit easy. Yeah, but then again, it's Christmas special. They're always fluffy. They're not so in-depth, sort of thing.
True.
As like mid-season, so I can kind of forgive that.
Okay.
And it was just in with a bunch of fantastic moments.
Okay.
From the story and the performances. Everybody was firing on all cylinders, even Davina McCall.
Even
which
Davina.
I thought she'd have I think she'd have a way bigger part than she did, because of all of the hype surrounding her character, and she was made out to be this massive guest star. But she still had a nice role and that sort of thing. But on the whole, I'd say thoroughly enjoyable. Just a little wrapped up too easy, I'd say.
Yes, I would agree
Really
with that.
intriguing.
Yeah.
With the with what Jordan was saying about the mysterious lady and also Mrs. Flood. Both of those women are... I have no idea. I've absolutely no idea.
Okay.
I did think that maybe the cloaked woman could have been the 13th Doctor, but
yeah, a lot of people
because
said
of the
that.
boots.
Yeah.
But then I was speaking, I said this on Twitter or X or whatever it is, and our friend over at the Doctor Who show, Rob, made a very good point about the eyelets on the boots. They're different to Jodie's, and also they're open. No, sorry, I think they're Jodie half laces hers, and these are all done up. So they're not the same boots. I think it could be trying to catch us off guard sort of thing.
Yeah, there's always that. I think that's a bit of a reach. I think I mentioned this on a regular podcast last week. I think that's a bit of a reach for me, the whole Jodie thing. Just because they'd have to bring Jodie back at some point in the next series or the one after that to try and explain away why she was there in the first place. Now, it feels to me a little bit like, when Stephen Moffat took over and we had Matt Smith and a whole new thing, but there was a little bit of mystery with certain things, and you thought, I wonder what's going on there. It would have been really weird for one episode for David Tennant to turn up, and be this weird kind of multi-doctor kind of, just because of the whole, if you think about series 5 onwards, that did feel like not a canon reboot, but it felt like the show went through a little bit of a soft reboot in terms of the direction and different producer, just everything was very new. It feels like that times 10 for Shooter's era. It feels like this is a very, very different, separate thing. And even calling the next series that we've got coming up in May, season 1, that feels like it's very much without having to reset everything too much, it does feel like a bit of a, here's the reset button, boys. We've hit that. So for me, it's a reach to have Jodie's Doctor come back for any reason. I could be wrong, probably am wrong, but I don't know. It might be Clara. Clara.
I mean, I'd love it to be someone that we just have no idea. But yeah, now you say that, I think it would work with Jodie mostly if it was wrapped up in that Christmas special. As what they did with, was it the end of Deep Breath, where Clara is on the phone to try and, with Matt Smith to try and calm her and accept the new Doctor and help him. I think that could have worked, but yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying. If it's now drawn out and you're not going to see the end until the end of season 1, I suppose. Yeah, it would make no sense for it to be Jodie.
I think Jodie will be back at some point. I don't know, the 70th anniversary or whatever. I don't know. I think she will be back in some capacity, but I don't know. Anyway, so I asked about your guys' expectations because I know that there was, for the first time in a long time actually, I saw a lot of people on social, mainly Twitter and Facebook groups, where unlike in previous eras where we've had a new Doctor kicking things off with their first proper episode, generally speaking, everybody was up for it. Everybody was looking forward to see the change and the new Doctor and everything. This was the first time in the last decade, I suppose, or the last 15 years, whatever, where I've seen a little bit of divide with a lot of fans saying, "Oh, I'm just going in with the lowest of expectations because, the last X many number of years of Doctor Who has just been terrible. So I'm not going to go into it with high expectations and looking forward to it because I don't want to be, majorly disappointed based on, even though it's a bit ridiculous, like, origin, apples and oranges. It's like you can't really compare the recent few years of the Chibnall era to a Russell T Davies era. They're very, very, very different. But I did see that divide. So that's why I wanted to ask you guys if you were like, I'll just see how this goes. I won't go in, going in crazy. But to be honest with you, conversely, I guess, I think the 60th episodes helped, especially that third one, the giggle, where we saw Shooty rocking and rolling straight from the outset from when he was on screen. So maybe that helped a little bit. But yeah, great stuff, guys. Yeah, so I think it's thumbs up all round on the Christmas special. And no doubt you guys are looking forward to season 1, I guess. Cool. Have you guys looked into the... or have pre-ordered the new box set? I can't remember because we always discuss these on the round tables when they come around to being released, and I can't remember which one of you guys. I know Harry definitely doesn't get these. He waits for the non-special editions, I think, and he picks them up a year later or so on. But I can't remember which of you guys order them and which of you don't. But recently we had the season 15 box set announced and up for pre-order. The Tom Baker stuff with... the Invisible Enemy, Underworld, Horror of Fang Rock, all that stuff. Is this floating your boat, you guys, with all the special features? Have you ordered, or is this I'll give it a skip. Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, I've pre-ordered it. I've gone for the special edition one. Season is 15, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, for some reason I thought it was season 14. Season 15 is a weird one for me because I tend to look at it and be like, oh, that's a rubbish one. But sort of when I love Horror Fang Rock. The Invisible Enemy is all right. Image of the Fendal is pretty good. I always dread the Sunmakers, but thoroughly enjoy it. Underworld, I hate Underworld. It's awful. And I'm not overly keen on the Invasion of Time, but I would take it over Underworld. So it's a weird one for me. But I knew it had to be released at some point, so it might as well just come out now and, sort of, but it's, I'm looking forward to it. I loved the trailer with Leela and the Daleks, and that I thought that was brilliant. So I'm looking forward to it. I love all the special features. I'm looking forward to them doing a making of Horror Fang Rock because it's one of my favourite stories. So, and it's one of the DVDs that has shockingly not had much extras when they released it. And the behind the sofas are always really good. So
true. Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing them. I'm one of these people who tends to watch the behind the sofas first and then watch the actual episode. But I'm looking forward to seeing this new design for the Rootons. I mean, my first thought was, why didn't they use it to update CGI on Underworld? But considering the whole story of Underworld is CGI, it's probably that would be too expensive to do that. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of the sort of updated effects and things. So no, I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Yeah, I think Horror of Fang Rock has managed to scoop most of the budget in terms of where the special features are focused on and updated effects and sound mix and all that stuff, which is no bad thing because you mentioned at the very beginning that season 15 is not one of your favourites in terms of, a collection of stories. And I think there was always going to be a point as we go through all of these releases of each series with of these Blu-ray box sets. There's a few different seasons across each Doctor's era, which are not the strongest, let's be honest. So it was always going to come to a point where we hit one of these seasons, and I think more than ever, it's going to be the special features that are the selling point, you know.
Because I must admit, I think it's around this time that I start to tune out of Tom Baker's era. I like the key to time, but I like the relationship between the Fourth Doctor and Romana and that. But then I'm not overly keen on season 17, and I'm not overly keen on season 18. So I think it's about after Image of the Fendal is when I start to just... his sort of era starts to go downhill for me.
Yes.
With the exception of a few stories. There are a few brilliant ones. But yeah, this is sort of where I start to zone out with Tom Baker.
Yes, agreed. Yeah. Matt, I can't remember. Do you pre-order these? Do you pick these up, or he's laughing? Of course he does. Look at his little face. He's all over it. Aren't you?
Oh, about 30 seconds after it was announced. Something like that. It was actually, I know about these so much that I know that it was weird because they're normally announced on a Tuesday, but it wasn't for this one. And that's how much I know how to pre-order them, because I generally know which day to look out for. But instant pre-order. I've got all of the others, which is entirely this podcast's fault, because when I was listening years and years ago, you were talking about, I think it was the season 18, no, the second one, so the Peter Davison, I think it was it 21? Season 21 or season 19?
Season
19.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And you were saying, you want to get their season 12 just sold out super quick, and I'm in an hour in, and I thought, well, that's a good way to watch Classic Who for the first time, is to watch it on these Blu-rays. Yeah, not looked back since. So my wallet doesn't thank you, but I do. But yeah, it's they're great sets. They always have been, and especially the trailers are just getting better and better every single time. You watch the first trailer and you think that was great, and then you watch the next one and you think, wow, that was better, and it just keeps getting better. This one was no exception. It was brilliant. The
Leela versus the Time War.
Minnesota. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, and you could tell so much love and also so much more money is going into these trailers now to make them so theatrical and almost mini-episodes of classic Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, just really thrilled with it all the love that goes into them.
Yeah, an interesting thing about that trailer is, of course, it's very well written, and the character of Leela, Louise Jameson is playing it obviously very well, and it's all good. The continuity visually between this and Day of the Doctor was spot on, really. If you think about the background, you had that big glass dome that was busted, the Citadel, and just the color grading and the costumes and everything. They didn't use this as an excuse to go off and sort of have their own little version of what the Time War might have looked like. It really felt like, it was all just sort of plucked out of, maybe it was a deleted scene from the Day of the Doctor, the 50th stuff. So yeah, that was really cool. So yeah, I've also pre-ordered the box set, obviously, after I saw Matt's little update in the Discord that they'd been released and announced and stuff. So I jumped on it and leapt on that and pre-ordered. So the problem is, we say this many times, that this is the struggle of being a collector of Doctor Who stuff with these kind of things, is that once you get a few of them, you're off. You can't not get the other ones. So, what started out, should I say, as just a £45 or £40 investment just to enjoy a series of Doctor Who is now probably going to be thousands of pounds worth of Blu-ray stuff. So thank you, Doctor
Think
Who.
of all the enjoyment.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, I am harbouring a bit of a secret.
Share. We're all friends. We're all friends.
Well, I promise you I am a Doctor Who fan. just in case you aren't aware. But the only one of season 15 that I've watched is actually The Invisible Enemy. I've not seen any of the others.
Huh? You've not seen Horror
I
Fang
thought
Rock?
you were going to... You've not seen the horror that is Underworld.
Oh,
No, I've got that joy to come.
Jesus Christ.
I'm
No,
surprised you haven't seen Horror of Fang Rock, actually.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, now you can watch it in HD.
this is true.
So,
Yeah.
The actual it was the first classic episode that I watched, actually, The Invisible Enemy.
okay. It's not a bad story. It's not, it's one that I'm always like, oh God, it's The Invisible Enemy. But then I'm like, oh, I really enjoyed that.
I picked
I
it
sort
up
of
on
forget
VHS,
that it's quite
I
good.
think.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah.
VHS.
Is that
Wow.
the early 2000s, isn't it?
Yeah, straight after
Yeah.
watching School Reunion, because I was at that right age where what Russell had intended K9 and Sarah Jane to do just fell completely perfectly for my age group, and I was in love with K9 from the end of the episode, and then just completely went balmy with the episodes that I could find with him in, and that was the first one I saw. Strangely enough, didn't continue into the rest of season 15. I don't know if I got a vibe or something, but but no, I'm looking forward to it. But at the same time, there's a bit of a shameful secret, that one.
I find it hard to believe that you've not ever been tempted to seek out Horror of Fang Rock and give that a watch. It's such a high rated, fan favourite, that one, of that series especially. It's probably the best story in that series, without a doubt. Come on,
You
Dee.
see, to be fair, I know, but it's just bypassed me a little bit, that one. When I think of the Doctor and Leela, I think of Talons or stories. Actually, to be fair, I haven't watched a lot of Leela and the Doctor. I think a lot of this has got to change.
Well,
I just think it's funny when you think about Horror of Fang Rock that they basically sort of fired Philip Hinchcliffe for making it too scary.
Mm-hmm.
Brought in Graham Williams because, we need to, make it a bit more comedic and make it, whatever. And then he says, yep, to Horror of Fang Rock, and it's one of the scariest episodes of Doctor Who that's around. It's, it's one of the it's definitely, if you're a horror fan, Horror of Fang Rock is definitely something to watch. But and you brought Graham Williams in to make it funny, and then he kicks his ear off with Horror of Fang Rock. And then Image of the Fendal, 2 stories later, which
yes.
is heavily influenced
Yes.
by Philip Hinchcliffe. So, but definitely watch Horror of Fang Rock, Matt, because it's very good. If you don't watch any other stories from that season, just watch that one.
Oh, defo. Yeah.
I suppose the question is, because I do like a horror film, so do I watch that after we've done this, or do I wait for the box set?
It depends. If you're one of these dudes that gets hung up on people redoing visual effects, then yes, watch it now and then watch the Blu-ray version so you can compare and see which version you prefer and enjoy. If you're not bothered, then just wait until the Blu-ray and just give that a watch.
I think that's probably the line I'll go down. The effects, I think, to be fair, because a lot of them I haven't seen before, and I'm still working my way through. I'm still working my way through the second Doctor's era currently. So yeah, I think a lot of them, it doesn't really matter for me because I'm just seeing the special effects for the first time. Obviously, some that I have seen, I've sort of flitted between classic Doctors episodes, but yeah, I think I'll probably do that. Probably wait for the box set and have it as a nice experience.
Have you ever seen, I think it's The Fog by John Carpenter? Jamie Lee Curtis and that Adrian Barbara?
That's...
And it's set in a lighthouse, and the vast majority of it's in a lighthouse. It's very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if after John Carpenter dies, he's like, oh yeah, you find out, oh yeah, he stole a lot of that from Horror of Fang Rock. because it kind of goes down a very similar route with sort of the isolated locations and the fog creeping in, and it's definitely, when I describe it, I always compare it to that one.
Yeah.
Is that the one that's based off Stephen King short story?
Don't think so.
No, that's
Don't
The
think so.
Mist you're thinking of.
That's that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that one. That's another one for the list.
Well, there you go. Give that one a watch, and then you'll kind of have a vibe about what horror Fang Rock is like.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. In a nutshell, just get it watched, Matt, regardless of how you watch it. But just wait. Yeah, it sounds like you're probably better off just waiting for the old Blu-ray. Stick it on and enjoy.
That's the best way.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Let's finish up with a story that's been doing the rounds over the last few days about upcoming Doctor Who. Before I do that, though, some deets on how you can follow and subscribe to this very podcast. We put a new episode out every week when we are both, my co-host Adam and I, on our regular weekly podcast. When we're not travelling or working, whatever, we put a new episode out every Friday where we review all of new Doctor Who as it's going out. And when there's no new Doctor Who, we go back to the back catalogue and review that stuff. Last week it was Revenge of the Cybermen. This week it is the John Pertwee story, Frontier in Space. So that's coming out this Friday. And then also once a month we also get together as a team, this lot, and we do a round table where we just pick out a few stories that are doing the rounds, anything that's worthy of chat, or we do a review of something, whatever we decide. And it's just a bunch of Who fans, really, just having a chat about Doctor Who, which is always cool. So make sure that you pick up all those episodes by subscribing or following in whatever podcast you listen to your podcasts on. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box podcast. You'll find us in all the popular apps and networks and whatnot. Or you can listen for free in the browser as well. Just get over to bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. All the episodes are there, plus all of the convention roundouts and Big Finish reviews and all the articles from these guys. They're all there to read as well. And we're on the socials. There are links on the website. We chat Doctor Who throughout the week. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a really cool free Discord server. So hop in there and do that as well. Okay, let's finish up with this story then. It's about Millie Gibson, who is obviously our new companion with Shooty, Ruby Sunday. It turns out that she's already been fired, which is great if you believe certain people across the internet or whatever it is. The truth is she hasn't been fired. It's just, from what I can gather, this is just Russell's sort of long-term plan as he moves through the first few seasons of this new era of Doctor Who. And I think what a lot of people have sort of latched onto is the fact that we're only going to see her for season 1. Well, along with the Christmas special, season 1, and then apparently just a few episodes of season 2. So everybody has latched onto that and has sort of conjured up all of these scenarios that are, frankly, they might be true, but it feels like a very thin sort of thing. I find it very, very difficult to believe that Russell T Davies and Julie and Phil Collins and all these other producers went through the casting process, found somebody that they loved as a companion, and then after she filmed one season, they just very swiftly changed their minds and were like, actually, no, we don't like this person at all. I find that very, very difficult to believe. So she has left, or she is leaving. But the thing to put, I sort of wrap this up in a bit of context, is that I think a lot of people were spoilt by Billie Piper's Rose character that stuck around for quite a long time. So she obviously was with us from the very opening part of the 2005 revival, I guess you call it. And she was there for ages. You know, she was there right up until, what was it, season 2? She left? Yeah, season 2 she left.
Season 2.
Yeah, and then we had Martha, and then she came
was back for
and then
season 4.
Yeah, so she was around for ages, and that was a little bit of, now that you look at everything since 2005 and you look at it as a bigger picture, that's probably the exception rather than the rule, because Martha Jones, she was only in it for one series, and then you had Donna Noble, although she's been in it what feels like a long time. She was only in it for one full series. She was in it for the Christmas special, one full series, and then she was, obviously back. So when you look at it as in the bigger picture and with some context, Millie Gibson is only really following in the same kind of pattern that's the other companions we've had, minus Rose Tyler, who was kind of the exception, like I said. So what do you guys think to this? Because any other time when somebody gets announced as leaving Doctor Who, whether it's the Doctor, the actor playing the Doctor, or if it's, one of the companions, it's normally met with, oh, okay, cool, they're leaving. We knew that was going to happen. I wonder who's now going to replace that person as the companion or companions. But with this one, it feels weird. It feels like everybody's just jumped on this negativity train of, oh my God, something's gone drastically, horribly wrong at Doctor Who and the BBC. And there's all this drama. But I don't know, it just feels like par for the course for me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, Donna, Martha, Bill, I think it's not unusual, and especially that she's not just doing one season. She's got at least nearly half of season 2 as well. And nothing's been confirmed. That's the thing. Nothing has been confirmed. It's all speculation, and it's all been blown out of proportion. Half of the stuff is probably made up, like you say. But even so, I think we, especially maybe fans that have come in maybe at Jodie's run, or even in Moffat's run, you didn't, apart being Bill being the caveat to this point, is you've had, especially Yaz, you had Yaz for series 11, 12, 13, and then the specials. She hung around as long as the Doctor. So if you've only jumped on board there, or even when Clara came in, because Clara hung around for a long, long time, then I suppose I can see where people are coming from. But if you delve back into, say, from 2005, like you say, it's not uncommon. It's just something that happens. And, sometimes actors don't want to be tied down for years and years. And sometimes it's just naturally time for their character to go. We haven't seen any of season 1 for a start. So you don't know what's going to happen, whether or not she even makes it past a few episodes in season 2. It could have been the plan all along, but I think the problem with it is I really feel for Millie Gibson, because, well, she's 19 years old. Then suddenly everybody is she's in everybody's spotlight for all these made up reasons. I just think it's a bit harsh, and I think people maybe need to, well, from my point of view, I think it just is a bit rumour mill, and it can do with calming down a bit, I think, is the point.
Well, that's the crux of the matter. I think it's not. I don't think it's the story itself that's potentially the issue. It's the number of people who have jumped on it to make it more of a. Which is why I fall into the camp of it's a bit of a storm in a teacup. It's fandom that's made it, and a potential thing. So Jordan, what are your thoughts, dude, on this?
I agree. I think it's probably been something that Russell has planned all along. You think it's sort of this whole season 1, the whole thing is sort of like a big relaunch, big sort of, Disney's coming in and you're trying to reach a new audience. I think she's probably going to be designed to be like an introduction companion. And then this new lady that comes in is going to be like Ncuti's main companion, however many years he's there for, she will do a couple of years. But yeah, I don't understand why I think people are kind of kicking off because someone somewhere has said, "Oh, it's very similar to Christopher Eccleston leaving." I've seen a lot of comparisons with that, which I don't quite understand. I think the only thing was one of the newspapers reported that Millie Gibson was a bit of a diva on set overnight. And I'm thinking, she's 19. If I was on a night shoot, filming till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd probably be a diva. And I'm
you
27.
would. Jordan, you would.
Defo. Yeah.
Where's my bloody coffee? 3 minutes I've been waiting for this.
I would start to get tired and I would get a bit ratty, and you can understand that. But
it's not coffee. It would have been, where's my bloody gin?
Where's my gin?
My gin, yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear. But I'm glad you all know what I'm like. But and I do feel quite bad for her because she's not had a chance to say anything. The news hasn't officially broken that she's leaving. We've had a few leaked set photos with the new companion. That's not been announced yet. But you think Martha only did 1 series, but then was in series 4.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
She was in, 2, 3, 4, say 5 episodes, and then came back for the end of time. You even going back to classic Doctor Who, you had Dodo did 1 season, Victoria did 1 season, Liz Shaw did 1 season. It's not something that's, this is new. So I don't understand why people are sort of kicking off about it as if it's new. I guess it's probably because there was such a big deal made about it. And it's sort of like, if it was such a big deal, you're announcing these characters and things, and they're only in it for 1 series. But, there was a big deal about Bill and Nardole and things like that, and they were only in it for 1 series, and they were always designed to be in it for 1 series.
Yes.
And you can see that when you watch series 10 back, you can see that they were designed to just be Peter Capaldi's going out companions.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel very bad for Millie Gibson, and I really liked Ruby in Church on Ruby Road. I thought she was really good. So I think people should just reserve their judgment for when the series actually airs. But yeah, I don't quite get what people are kicking off about. Yeah,
and I think you've nailed it there. Where you have so many of these previous companions who are. And also, don't forget, Chibbers was doing things very differently before that as well. So maybe people have got used to people like Tosin Cole's character, and what was the companion's name that ended up right until the end with Jodie? What was her name?
Mandip Gill.
Mandip Gill.
Yes. He obviously engineered his era of Doctor Who to have his companions last across multiple series, and really encompass the entire arc of going on that journey along with the Doctor, not just sort of dipping in and out like the previous ones. So I think there's just a lot of factors involved in it. It's like we have all these previous companions, as Jordan said, who only were with us for one series, and that was it, and that's kind of the norm. And then you had Chibbers, who engineered things very differently. Then we switched back to Russell, and it appears now that he's kind of gone back to following suit a little bit with some of the companions or some of the people involved not being in the show for the entire arc along with the Doctor, but just, doing that 1 series or a bit. So, yeah, it's a bit of a change. And then also we have to remember that we had such a massive build-up to the 60th with the new Doctor and David Tennant being back, and this whole thing of the Russell version 2 era, and that whole big build-up and everything. And now the dust is just about to settle, and we already get news of a companion leaving the show. So that's like, do you know what I mean? It's like a domino effect of a few things. So, but I'm with you guys. I think it's just I think it's a natural thing. It's very much been designed that way by Russell and the other people. But, you guys know fandom. You guys know fandom by now. You know how the machine works.
Even I forgot I think we all forgot a companion actually, but even in the Chibnall era, we had Mr. Pan-Fried Sontaran himself. We had Dan only for one season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And he was great.
he was great.
Yeah, and he was great, but only one season because even come towards the was it the Centenary or was it the
Yeah,
was it
centenary.
which one did he leave
special.
in? Yeah, the
Yeah, Power of
Centenary.
the Doctor.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not uncommon.
Not at all.
And a lot of the time, you find that these sort of one series companions are like some of the best companions. I really liked Bill. I really liked Liz.
Mm-hmm.
Who else did I say? I liked Dodo. I will die on that hill that I think Dodo was quite a good companion. I think a lot of the time, the one series companions are probably the best one because they're not, unless they're really good, someone like Joe Grant or Sarah Jane or someone like Clara. I didn't really like Clara, but she probably falls under that category. Unless there's something about them, you're only really there for one series, and you're just like, right, I've had fun, I'm off.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Ruby's going to do.
Yeah. You would think so at this point, yeah. Alrighty. I'm glad we're on the same page with that. Maybe if Maria was here, she'd go on a big rant about stuff. You know what Maria's like. She'd start off with, "Well, Gary," and that would be it. Buckle up, get a cup of tea ready. Maria's going to go off on one. We love you, Maria. Joking, of course.
We do.
Yes. Okay, guys. If there are no other news stories that you guys want to cover, we shall wrap it there. I think for the... Oh, Matt, have you got something? Oh, Matt's got...
I was just going to say, if you're listening to this live and you fancy yourself a new TARDIS set, you can still get the Fugitive Doctor and a bespoke TARDIS set at retail at the Character Options site. Because they had a lot of problems on actual pre-order day, but now it's quietened down. But I have seen already eBay listings for double the price, which I don't want anyone to fall victim of because it's actually still available.
Bloody scalpers. They are.
I know.
Oh, nice update, dude. So yeah, Character Options on the website, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. It is a little bit pricier because the whole model for the TARDIS and for the Fugitive Doctor figure had to be brand new.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's $39.99 and free delivery. But yeah, it's a very good looking set, brand new looking packaging as well, which is really nice.
Yeah, looks good. That nice one.
Adam's definitely picked it up.
Oh, of course, yeah. Adam would have got that. He would be, he'd have his scouts looking around all the B&M stores, or be off himself, Aylesbury, all of those places, having a look, trying to hunt them down. He gets very, for those of you that know this feeling well, I'm not casting any shade, of course, but if you're a morning person and, it doesn't affect you, that's the opposite of what Adam's like. So if you're one of these people that in the morning you need like a good hour before you see in colour, before the world is agreeable, that's the kind of mood that Adam's in when he doesn't get his B&M sets. So, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, otherwise I'll just never hear the end of it. He'll be banging on about that for weeks. And on that note, thank you very much, guys. Let's wrap it there for the February Roundtable. Thank you very much for coming back to another month and another roundtable with the Big Blue Box writing team. Thank you very much, Matt. It's been good to chat to you as always, buddy.
Thank you, Gary. It's always lovely to be on these, and can't wait for the next one.
Indeedy, yes. And Jordan, thank you very much for your insight and your thoughts as always, dude. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I love Jordan's salutations. It's very cool. It's like, you all right, Jordan? Hello. Hello there.
It's my theatre training, darling.
Yeah, yes. And then when he says goodbye, it's like, one day he's just going to be like, oh, sod off. See you later.
It's only because I'm having to be polite. That's yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how many gins he's knocked back before we get to that point, perhaps. Yeah, but thank you very much, you two, for your thoughts on the Christmas special. Very, very cool. The season 15 box set. Make sure you go and pre-order that if you want it, because as always, they will run out. And his thoughts on the Millie Gibson thing, I'm sure some more deets will come to light for that. Until next month for the February roundtable. Can't believe it's we're talking about the Feb roundtable already in 2024. That's cool. Make sure, as I said earlier, just very quickly, make sure you're following or subscribing to the podcast wherever you get your podcast apps. Just do a search as you'll find us there. And of course over on the website where you can link off to all the socials and the Discord, etc. Until next time, guys, my name's Gary.
I'm Jordan.
My name's Seth.
And remember,